how do you plan to explain autism to your child?
It's an Apple MacBook, right? But it's an off-brand version of it. It looks the same, it feels the same, but there's just a couple wires in different places. It's not necessarily a bad thing. The more that you keep reprogramming it, it could become something else over time.
That's so legit. I'm gonna use that everywhere. I'm joined today by Dakota
Kerekffy, yeah.
Kerekffy. I'm super excited to have this conversation. Dakota is an individual that has autism and grew up with autism. Every class I taught, primarily there was autism. I taught for 5 years. I've always been interested in autism. I've never actually had a conversation with anyone that had some form of autism. So we're super excited. And at the end of the show, I actually have a couple questions from our listeners.
Oh boy. Okay.
I'm going to throw that on you. I didn't warn you about that one, but
Bring it on, dude.
they're interested as well. So
All right.
a little about me. Yeah, I taught for 5 years, and
Right.
I just always enjoyed my time with my special day classes. Yeah, after 7 years, I had to step away. We moved up to Idaho, and I had to. They don't pay teachers anything, so I had to find some other means for income. So I started a construction business, and throughout all this, this idea of UNspecial has always been on my mind. I just never have had the time to do it, and now being down in San Diego, I hit up Lem, our producer, and I was like, yo, I have this idea. We've actually talked about it for a couple of years. And then he's like, why don't we just do it right now? So he came over and we recorded episode 1. He's like, just spell out what you're thinking UNspecial is. And then he posted it like the next day. And I'm like, bro, we're not even set up. He's like, well, pressure's on. So here we are. Episode 18. Yeah. So we're you're on the East Coast, yeah?
Yeah. So I do live in Georgia now. But I was born and raised in California originally. I lived there for about 22 years, and then I got married and moved to Arizona. And then after a few months in Arizona, we moved out to Alabama, and then we eventually moved to Georgia, and that's where we live now.
Nice.
Yeah.
How long you been married?
It'll be 2 years.
And you have a kid, yeah?
Yeah, I have a daughter. Her name is Evie June. She is 10 months old. Yeah, she's beautiful.
Okay.
Up to 10 months, it's been actually really smooth, surprisingly. It's now where she's just does not want to take naps and like wakes up every 2 hours. And so I think I spoke too soon.
Cool. And you said you're an electrician?
So I'm a low voltage installer for a living. So essentially, I will do low voltage security systems, camera systems. I work at a lot of schools, government buildings. We'll do data and fiber work in buildings. So essentially internet. That's kind of my specialty right now. I do a lot of commercial work. So
Okay.
yeah.
What's a day to day in the life of Dakota?
Oh man, my day to day is just it's a lot of working. I work Monday through Thursdays, 10-hour shifts, and then when I'm not working, I'm just spending time with my daughter and my wife, and just really just living day to day, trying to save money and get a couple projects done every now and then, and
Yeah.
try to have a social life somewhere around there too. So
Right. It's always a trick to when you have kids to find the friends that you get along with the husband and your wife gets along with the wife.
yeah, yeah, we found that couple. They have a son who's only like 3 months behind our daughter. So
Okay.
yeah, they're really cool people, and we've gotten to know them pretty good over the past year, I think.
Okay. Yeah, that's huge. So, how old are you?
I am 26 years old.
Okay, 26. You grew up with autism.
I
What
did.
what do you remember about that? Like even going way back when to when your parents were finding out.
It, yeah. So when I was diagnosed, I was 3 years old when they found out about my diagnosis. I had low, not had, I still have it. I have low functioning autism. So essentially, it would, with this type of autism, it would make it very difficult for me to communicate, talk, socialize, sensory overloads. I mean, the list goes on. Doctors were pretty certain that that wasn't going to change. That I would need special care and special treatments and resources, or whatever. But my parents didn't really want to accept that. So, they, I mean, a lot of it is through grace of God, obviously, but they really went to town with finding speech therapy and resources in our area. And I mean, I actually had to talk to my mom for like an hour the other day to figure out how many different things. It's a ton of stuff. I mean, we did private speech therapy, OT therapy, music therapy, even like diet therapy at one point. Um, I mean, I literally threw the ringer for that. And then uh, I went to public school growing up, so I had an IEP for that, basically to have like special accommodations for certain things for classes, like for example more time on tests or a quiet place to study or whatever. But I think I think the biggest thing that I remember is just kind of feeling like trapped, almost like I wanted to do certain things and I wanted to say certain things and talk in a certain way, but it just wouldn't come out that way. And I don't know what it was. It was just kind of tough. I felt like I just couldn't speak fully, if that makes sense.
Yeah, totally.
Um, um, I mean, I I didn't necessarily tell people, but like people could
Yeah.
tell, and I had this lady almost all the way up to high school. Her name is Miss Snyder. She passed away a few years ago, unfortunately, but she was like, I got, she was kind of like my support system through a lot of school because I got picked on a lot for disability and stuff. She she helped out a lot though too because she brought a lot of students in to just hang out and socialize with me, and
Yeah.
they made me feel like I was normal and not like just this guy who can't even fit a sentence out of his mouth.
Uh-huh. What was that? Man, now my mind is starting to go crazy.
Yeah.
But what does that feel like? Like you're sitting in class and did you feel like everybody was looking at you different and watching you?
Yeah, that was something that I always, pay attention to. And, I always, I really cared about what people thought about me a lot. I don't as much anymore, but
Mm,
just because now, but I felt like what I had was like a disease and like I
mm,
can't let it affect me. But by doing that, I was just stressed out all the time. And then having the sensory issues didn't help either because, you know, like I'm hearing you, I'm hearing the speaker, I'm hearing the wind outside, I'm hearing what's going on upstairs, I'm hearing the dogs, and like it just, everything all at once,
yeah.
Um, it just, I'd just be, I think I would just be stressed out a lot. Um, and like, yeah, I think I think that answers the question. I don't do interviews that often.
No, you're good, man. I'm just gonna keep firing away. So
Yeah,
just say
yeah,
whatever. What? So you said you got picked on a lot. What did that
yeah,
like? People would say stuff.
yeah. I mean, they come up with clever names and just I don't know, just because I had this like just this thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's not something that I can help. Like they pick on me for repeating words underneath my breath or humming during class or this or that and and it just didn't really feel like I had anybody behind my back during those times.
Yeah.
That I really poured into I really poured into my church and my youth ministries out there because that was like the only place that I felt safe, you
Uh,
know,
yeah.
like where I could just be me and everyone liked me. So
Right. Right. So you were in just gen ed classes.
yeah, I was in general ed classes in the public school system. I had an IEP for during that whole time, not just high school specifically. I know a lot of kids do that, but I had an IEP probably since first grade or something like that.
Yeah. Tell me about IEPs from your side of the table, because I mean I was a teacher, so I was on the other side of the table.
Right, right.
Well, what is it like on your side?
I mean, it's nice to have like the accommodations, right?
Yeah.
Because not necessarily that I'm not capable of like learning and being taught like everybody else, but like sometimes the extra time on the tests or having extra notes like really help you skyrocket it. I mean, I wasn't like a straight A's kid growing up, play like a average C or B kid growing up, but um just having those resources, be able to be successful in my classes and my schoolwork, like definitely got me really far. As far as like the meetings, I wasn't really involved in that. It was mainly my mom that was at the meetings.
Did you ever feel like people were talking at you and not including you?
Uh, Honestly, I never really thought of it that way.
Uh,
Um, Good question.
I mean, it's
Um,
interesting because sometimes when I would be in those meetings,
yeah,
I would experience like the service providers doing that, and it would always kill me because I'm like, they're sitting right there. I just stop talking at them, like let's include them in the conversation, because then
yeah,
it
I,
kind of
I,
like built on my whole mindset around education
yeah,
is it's so easy for educators and service providers to treat students as a project.
yeah, not necessarily a person, but like just
Yeah.
thing, right?
Mm-hmm. Did you ever feel that way?
Uh, I guess sometimes. I mean, honestly, I just sat there and listened and watched. I mean, I didn't really.
So did you like school? Not really.
No.
Not at all.
Yeah, no. Um, I had good times with school for sure. Definitely in high school doing sports and all that. I People were picking on me for being autistic and having this disability, but then as soon as I started wrestling and people
Let's shut
they
up.
see me slam a guy to the ground and nearly breaking his arm, but like nobody kept going anymore. So
That's good.
yeah,
Yeah. I mean, you get what you deserve, right? uh,
karma. Yeah, but yeah, I mean the easy answer is no. I didn't really. I felt really understimulated during a classroom setting. Honestly, like um, I just didn't really feel like I was really learning anything of value. I guess the one class I really enjoyed was history. I really enjoyed history. I really enjoyed government. But like I hated math. Like I still hate it, and I gotta use it. I'm not for work.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I think high school were definitely the better years of school for sure. But I wouldn't say it's something that I entirely enjoy. No.
Yeah, yeah. Did you have, I know obviously it was a challenge making friends.
Yeah.
Um, did you have some close buddies throughout the years?
There's people I talk to every now and then. I actually have a buddy that um has special needs too that I've known since since preschool. Um,
Wow.
funny enough, he's got a pretty similar diagnosis as me, but um, he can barely say a sentence to save his life.
Really?
Yeah, it,
Whoa.
it, it but I kid you not, dude. This guy is probably one of the smartest guys I know.
I
I mean,
bet.
he can he always got straight A's. Um he always got every assignment right. Every essay was like spot on, but like the guy just struggles to talk sentences.
Wow. Did,
Yeah, it's weird. It's really weird.
do you think, did he have some of the similar early interventions that you had?
Um, I mean, all the resources were given. I don't want to say something incorrectly here, but as far as I'm aware, he was given all the same opportunity and resources. I don't think they entirely took advantage of that.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know early intervention has come a long ways
Hmm.
till now, up until today. There's so much stuff out there that's definitely overwhelming for parents, but it sounds like yours, and I'm learning with a lot of some of our other guests and parents,
Yeah.
like it seems like the mom, when they find out the news, they just like all in, they're gonna conquer it. And
Yeah. Yeah. 100%. Every parent wants the best for their kid, right?
Mhm.
And I mean, you know, I'm trying to say this carefully. Some people just won't change. Is is a hard, sad truth to it.
Mhm.
Um, I was one of those people that wasn't completely affected by it.
Yeah.
But every parent wants the best for their kid, and there's a lot more resources out there that even I didn't have. I mean, I have a nephew who has autism too. Like
Mhm.
it, you know, my family seeing that, really inspired them and gave them hope. And I mean, he's thriving now too. Um,
Right. You've come to where you are now, which
yeah,
is phenomenal. How have you got to where you are now? I know there's had to have been numerous challenges, but it took like you digging in and doing the
I think,
work.
yeah, I mean, I can only speak from my experience, right? But I think I definitely think my faith was a huge part of it, and just God's grace through it all. But it, you know, the resources that I had, the speech therapies that I had, and you know, all of that, and just having the willpower to want to do something more with my life. I think that definitely got me through that. I definitely there's definitely been real big challenges, and still a lot of challenges that I still have to overcome still even today, you know. Um, but um, it I keep telling myself, I gotta keep working harder and harder, and like, you gotta make it, you gotta make it, you gotta make it, and my wife has to remind me, like, you did make it, like, or like like you have a family, you have a home, you have a job, like you're doing it, you made it. I'm
Hmm.
stressed. Um,
Well, and Lem told me, he's like, "Hey, I got a buddy I think would be down to be on the show." And then
yeah,
he started telling me a little bit, and I'm like, he's married, has a kid, he's full-time job. Like
Yeah.
we need to hear how he got there.
Yeah. Um, but yeah, I think that would be my biggest piece of advice to anybody going going through this with their child and their family is just like find whatever resources that are in your area and just like get them fully invested in that. You
Yeah.
know, I think I think something is better than nothing, right?
Mhm.
Um, and just accepting it too is a huge part.
Just gonna ask you that.
Yeah, you gotta accept that you're different, right? And that you are a unique person that's gonna have unique needs. And what works for me may not work for you, right? And I don't give my mom enough credit, but like she went through the ringer with me trying to figure out all sorts of things, right? And my dad is a pilot, so he wasn't around too much, so it was really just my mom taking care of me and my sister, and you know, with my autism on top of that, I mean, I can't imagine what he completely went through, you know.
Yeah. How did uh how did you experience your parents growing up?
Um,
The stress, fearful, or did they
I think
not show that to you?
I look back now as a parent now, I understand why they did certain things.
Yeah.
I think I think overall it was really good. I think there's definitely been some tough moments as well. And a lot of it was probably protection. My mother was really protective over me, um, of what I did and what I what I did or where I went or like who who I was with. Um, and then my relationship with my dad was kind of bumpy for a little while, but we're doing pretty good now. Um,
Mhm.
yeah, but I would say it was really good overall. And I don't, looking back, they're just two young people trying to figure it out, right?
Right. Are they still together?
Yeah, they've been married for probably like 28, 29 years, something like that.
Wow. Yeah,
So
that's a big deal. I mean, divorce rate with parents that have special needs kids is crazy.
yeah, I mean it's a full time job, you know. I mean it's everything out of you. Um, it's really gonna test you guys too.
Yeah.
But which you got to be. That's another thing is couples with children with autism, and you got to be on the same page. You got to remind yourselves. I mean, that's just life in general, right? You gotta remind yourself that you're on the same team,
Yeah.
um, and that you both want the best, right?
Well,
So,
yeah, I mean, that's the challenge, even if in any marriage, staying on the same page and reminding yourself you're on the same team.
yeah, I mean, I'm still learning that, right? Um,
Tell me about meeting your wife. How did that go down?
it's funny you ask. So it was back in 2020, right? Like right at the beginning of the pandemic.
COVID.
Yeah. I was living in Oregon at the time. I was working at a donut shop at the time, frying donuts, making donuts.
Yeah.
This thing about COVID, like it's starting to spread a lot across Europe. We're like, okay. And then next thing I know, I'm getting laid off because COVID restrictions, you know, began happening in, the United States. And well, great. Um, so, I was relooking at a few things in my life at the time, and I decided I wanted to go back to college. And I was going to be moving back to San Diego for the search internship program called DLC, Daybreak Leadership College.
Oh yeah.
Uh, yeah. So I was getting reconnected with people back at Daybreak, the young adults ministry, and I, funny enough, my soon to be wife was on that call too, and that's how we got fully introduced for a Zoom call.
Oh, no way.
Yeah, yeah,
That's great.
yeah, and but eventually, um, I was trying to plan this get together with a group of people, and including her, and I told her I would pick her up, and because she wasn't too far, and because obviously I'm so good at planning events, nobody showed up. It was me and her. So we're walking
Yeah,
around just
right. You
like,
planned that.
dude, she thought it was a date. I never told her that it was a date. I guess I forgot to mention that it was supposed to be a group outing or whatever. So like here I am wearing like just board shorts and like this Hawaiian shirt and it's like looking like a weirdo, dude. But funny enough, when we were walking back to the truck, I it finally clicked in my head. I'm like, wait a minute, I'm with this girl alone, and she's beautiful and single. What am I doing? So we just decided to drive around a little bit, and we grabbed in and out and talked for a while, and then we went on another date, and then um she went to college out in Arizona for a nursing school, so we ended up doing long distance dating for nearly 2 years, and then we finally got married after that point.
That's awesome. So
Yeah,
she's a nurse.
yeah. So she is a nurse and a doula. When she's not doing that, she's uh just a homestead wife. She likes to be outside. We're trying to build a garden this year, so we got about an acre of land on our property. So we got
Did anything come up like about your autism when you were dating or any?
well, yeah. I mean, going back to my nephew, they found out pretty close to when we started dating that he had autism, and they were like, my wife's sister was like really flipping out about it, like really scared about it, like, is he gonna be okay? Like, is he gonna have a normal life? This and that, and like, I told him like, hey, I have autism, and I mean, I'm doing, I think I'm doing okay, but yeah, I mean, I think it came up in conversation. He noticed a few quirks that I would do sometimes, like repeating a sentence in the back of my breath. Now she just makes fun of me all the time for it.
Oh, that's great.
There are these certain things sometimes, and she's like, "Honey, your autism showing." Like,
Oh, that's funny. But how have you gotten to a place where you can laugh about it? Because I know I there's a denial, right? And then you've come to terms with it, but you've made a shift in your mindset of like, this is me. I do these things, and I'm going to use them for my benefit.
I think, you have to, right?
Uh,
Because it's just, and it took me forever to figure this out. But like, if you just care about it so much all the time, like, it's just gonna eat you up. You know, like, I think you just gotta, you know, have a heart to heart with yourself, and like, you gotta accept this is who you are. What you see is what you get,
yeah.
and that's easier said than done. It took me 20 or so years.
This Lem mentioned that your mom's writing a book, or your dad's writing a book.
Yeah. So a few years ago, my mom mentioned that she wanted to write a book about just kind of like our journey through this.
Wow, cool.
As far as I'm aware, it's still happening.
I got a shameless plug too. I have a book that I've written. It's called Special Days, and
Okay.
it's 10 stories from the classroom, and then related to the Bible, and how
Mm.
I saw God in all of my students and there's some of their behaviors, and yeah, that should be. It's taken me 10 years to write too. 10 chapters, 10 years.
Yeah.
So that'll be coming out in a couple months. So I'll make sure to send it on over to you.
That's awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, yeah. So how does your autism affect your day to day
Um,
or benefit it?
okay, so a good question. I still struggle with social cues sometimes. Like I can't tell sometimes whether or not whether or not someone's making a joke or actually being serious. I think another thing too is I don't even know if this is a part of autism, but like just procrastination at times or just getting like distracted easily. I'll be working on this one project, but then I'll get distracted and do another thing, and then I'll do another thing and another thing. And then all of a sudden I have like 18 projects that I'm not even halfway through, and I don't know. But yeah, I'd probably say social cues is the main thing I struggle with.
What is something you wish everybody knew about autism? I mean, there's just so many misconceptions about it.
I
And
think
yeah,
I think people really don't understand at times, like, you know, yes, this is a disability, but like, you know, it's not that we can't understand things or like not want to do something. Just our heads are wired differently, right?
oh,
Um,
yeah.
uh, approaching a conversation or just communication in general takes us a little extra time to figure it out.
Yeah. What are you thankful for about having autism and any secret skills you have? Because there's like talk that people with autism have like secret skills. Some of them I used to like their photographic memory was unreal.
um, but um, one of the things I'm really grateful about autism is, just making people laugh. I don't know. Um, I can hyperfixate on something.
What would you say to somebody that like? What advice would you give to somebody that has autism?
Uh, I'm not going to say like, do the things that I did because that worked for me and it must work for you, right? But that may not be the case, right? I think what I would say is, find something that you're passionate about and just keep doing it. Whether that's reading a book or collecting an item or like a hobby or something.
What would you tell parents raising kids with unique needs?
I would say don't give up. Don't give up even when it gets hard. I know a huge reason where I'm at today is because my parents didn't give up on me. And just continue having patience and grace because we're figuring it out as much as they're figuring it out, right? It's just it's going to be a constant thing that's going to be changing and evolving, and you just gotta be ready to get on that ride. Sure.
All right, some bonus questions.
Bring it. Let's go.
Labels. What
Label.
labels? There's a lot of labels that are put on. There's kids with autism, or there's autistic kids, or neurodiverse learners,
Uh,
unique needs, special needs.
yeah.
Do those offend you at all? Or because everyone's different.
I don't know. I mean, maybe it bugged me like a few years ago, but like, I mean, it is what it is. It's a disability. I mean, I could sit around and complain about it or just accept it.
You
Um,
got an awesome mindset. No victim.
and if people would just continue bugging you, I'll hit him back with like, yeah, it's you're real funny, man. I mean, real funny, my guy. It must be real easy to pick on a disabled person, isn't it? Um,
Yeah, that would be hard to say. How how do you plan to explain autism to your child?
uh, gosh, I would probably say, I would say it's like a computer, right? MacBook, right? But it's an off-brand version of it. It looks the same, it feels the same, but there's just a couple wires in different places. It's not necessarily a bad thing. It just operates differently from the other MacBooks, right? Um, Over time, the more that you work on it, nourish it, and keep reprogramming it, I mean, it, it could be it could become something else over time.
We're definitely making a short out of that clip. That was funny. So good.
Came right up with that.
Yeah, these are off the cuff. You didn't know any of these are coming at you.
Yeah, no, I love it. I love it, dude.
All right, the biggest misconceptions about autism that you would like to address. I guess we kind of talked about this a little bit.
I mean, yeah, I mean, biggest misconceptions, that we don't listen, that we're not paying attention.
Oh.
Um, it's not that we're ignoring you; it's that we're focusing on one task and then moving on to the next one.
Yeah. Yeah. Any like awkward or funny experiences that you have experienced, not
Uh,
because of your autism, but just some of the quirks that come with the autism?
oh, so let me tell you what I told a Holocaust survivor.
Oh boy,
I'm in 8th grade, middle school,
this is good.
over 800 kids. We go to an assembly. On the stage, there's a Holocaust survivor. She's talking about her, how she went through Auschwitz and survived the whole ordeal. But during her whole story, she never mentioned what happened to her dad. So she was going to take questions at the end, and I was one of the first people to raise their hands. So I raised my hand.
There's 800 kids.
Oh, there's 800 kids all around me. I stand up. What I was trying to ask her is, where was your father during this whole ordeal? But a thing with autism is sometimes your words don't come across the way that you want them to come across. And I said, did you ever have a father, in front of the entire school? And literally all the way up to probably when I was 18, 19 in community college, I would have people come up to me and say, hey, did you ever have a father?
What? Yeah. Uh, well, I think he got muted. Oh, there you are. So they would come up to you and say, "Did you ever have a father?"
Yeah. They just literally would just come up and be like, did you ever have a father? And like no one forgot about it for. I also went to I grew up in school with like a lot of the same kids from kindergarten, literally all the way up to my senior year of high school. So like, I literally grew up with majority of the kids
Okay.
all throughout school, and yeah, like for like the next 6 7 years, like people just would not let it go. They just
Where
thought it was the most hilarious thing.
Where'd you go to school?
Um, so I went for elementary school. I went to Pacific Rim. That's in Carlsbad, California. Um, and then I went to RBR Oaks. That's also in Carlsbad. And then I went to Sage Creek High School. What That was a brand new high school at the time. I was actually the first graduating class there.
Oh,
Um,
wow.
yeah, and then I went off to Miracosta Community College, where I did the majority of my general ed, and then I finished I finished up school with Life Pacific University, where I got a Bachelor of Arts degree in organizational management.
Okay. Well,
Yeah.
yeah. Next, this is my question.
All right, bring it.
What sports did you play in high school?
Tennis and wrestling.
Oh, that's right. Oh, okay, here's my question. You walk into Wimbledon, big
Okay.
tennis, like the biggest stage, right?
Okay.
I don't know much about tennis, but that's what comes to mind.
Right.
And you walk into that scene, what is everything that's going on in your head?
Like walking into a tennis court and getting ready for that match.
Like, are you experiencing all the senses?
Oh, it's something that doesn't stop. Like it's a constant thing. Like you're like I can't just focus on one certain thing right now. Like I'm hearing you, I'm hearing the chickens outside, I'm hearing my wife in the kitchen, I'm hearing the sound machine upstairs where my daughter's sleeping, and it's just like it's a non-stop thing. I mean, literally, we would go out to restaurants and eat at a table, and people would be talking everywhere, and like I'd be listening to every single conversation of my parents and the kitchen and this and that, and like literally I would be so exhausted after that I would like sleep the rest of the day. Like
Wow.
it took that much energy out of me, you know.
Do you do anything to, can you do anything to calm that?
I mean, the biggest thing for me was I just needed to go outside, feel the wind, like hear less noise.
Interesting. Well, any closing thoughts? I don't want to keep you all day.
But this has been great. I'm really grateful and honored to be here, and hopefully you got something good out of it. But I hope people are motivated and inspired by this. I mean, I know it's a challenge for sure, but you're gonna get through this. And most importantly, you're doing a great job, parents. Just keep up what you're doing. I know the sleepless nights are hard, but you're gonna get through it, and you're taking care of your kid, and that's all you can do.
So good. Well, we're honored to have you on, Dakota. That was a blast. I love hearing all your insights, and it inspires me for sure, and I know it's going to inspire a lot of other people.
God doesn't give you more than you can handle. God helps you handle what you've been given.
Cool. That's it right there.
Yeah.
We'll close with that, man.
Awesome, man. I'll talk to you later.
Nice. Thank you for watching another episode of the UNspecial podcast. We understand that navigating the world of special needs can feel incredibly isolated. At UNspecial, we are dedicated to breaking down those barriers. If you want to hear another inspiring story, check out the video right here, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel to support our mission.